Bill Maher has a reality check for the woke left.
It's not that I'm old, it's that your ideas are stupid.
And he's about to make some people very angry as their progressive icon that has dug his heels in and refuses to follow the modern Democrats down a path of insanity, in my opinion.
That doesn't make me a Republican, it makes me an honest broker.
Just take a look at this mind-bending debate he had a few months ago at the Aspen Institute, because every word he said here sounds like prophecy in hindsight.
I mean, part of it, the left has to own. They are aggressively anti-common sense. The Democrats keep running on this one idea, saying to the American people, you can't possibly think you can do worse than Donald Trump. And they keep saying, yes, we can. Yeah. Yes, we can. And I understand that. I do. I would never vote for Donald Trump. And as I said, I think the Republicans are worse. But yeah, when you know, it's funny, when I talk to, you know, my friends around my age, 40, and they are always bitching to me about their kids who are like in their 20s, and they're like super uber woke, and they're driving their parents crazy. And everything is like, you don't get it, Mom. That's old thinking. And I'm like, don't get what? Abolish the police? Tear down statues of Lincoln? Maybe give communism another shot? Get rid of the Border Patrol? Get rid of capitalism? White supremacy has never been worse? Gender is always just a social construct. It's okay to have penises in the women's swimming pool in women's prisons. Okay, no, it's not that I'm old. It's that your ideas are stupid.
And here's where I think the generational clash is happening. The old left and the traditional liberals of the kind that Bill Maher is had lived through hard-fought progressive victories like the suffragist movement and the civil rights fight and understood the weight and cost of these shifts. Because in some sense, a revolution is always fought to leave a better world for the generation to come, and since those fighting today seldom have anything at stake, maybe it's that they've given rise to this new entitled far-left activist SJW breed of the progressive Bill Maher hardly recognizes. By the way, we show you the stories the mainstream won't, so please subscribe to Millionaire Mentor to be the first to see them. Now, when this hollow shell of traditional progressivism is passed down through generations with no understanding of the weight of the history behind it, you end up in a place where less than a quarter of students at America's college report a positive view of capitalism and free market. 2/3 of liberal students actively support reporting faculty for speech they deem offensive, along with a whole host of hot-button cultural issues. But that's not the left Bill Maher remembers or really wants to identify with, and I actually completely understand why.
In one of your more withering riffs in the book, you said that America is at peak stupid, right?
Peak stupid, yes.
Peak stupid, right. So give us the short version of why America right now is peak stupid.
Well, I would say it's because we stopped educating people. I mean, you know, one of the issues I have with the left is that they, a lot of ignorance. I mean, people say to me all the time, you make fun of the left more than you used to. Yeah, because they're dumber than they used to be. And the right has gotten dumber too. They went nuttier, the left, and then they blame me for noticing it. If I notice how unproductive it is to make everything about identity politics, that doesn't make me a Republican, it makes me an honest broker. If I notice all the oversensitivity and the cancel culture and the victim culture and the pointless white self-loathing and all this kind of, you know, forcing complex ideas about race and gender on kids who can't spell yet. If I notice all that, it doesn't make me a Republican. I would never be a Republican for all the reasons I never have been.
Doesn't that expose something? Just how far has the Overton window moved to the left that ideas like free speech, opposition to political correctness and government overreach, skepticism toward rampant forward interventionism, and of course opposition to crude racial identity politics are positions more familiar to the right than the left today? And don't forget, Bill Maher didn't just wake up to this now. He's had a keen eye seeing this shift happen from the inside out for 40 years. And of course, the cherry on top of the entire mess is that apart from abandoning their core progressive values, they've even let go of the very democratic mechanism through which new leadership and ideas churn and come forward. They haven't had a proper party primary or one convention since 2008, nearly 2 decades ago, and it's only long before the takeover of that old establishment starts turning off more people just like Bill Maher.
It's very hard. You know, I see this on my podcast several times when I've had somebody on who I know is a Trumper. I had Dana White on recently. I know he's for Trump. He's not the only one. And, you know, my podcast isn't even supposed to be political, but, you know, Trump is everywhere. Sometimes you wind up talking about him, and I can see we start to talk about it, and it's like two dogs, and I stop it after 5 minutes, and I say, let's just talk about something else. because I'm never going to bring you over to my point of view, and you're not going to come to the other point of view. Let's just talk about something else, and then we do, and we start laughing, and then we part friends. That's what we have to do in America. You can't talk, you know, I say it all the time. You can hate Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. It's half the country. This is something I hate. People hate me when I don't hate certain people.
Right.
Like you showed, was Ted Cruz, I think I heard at the beginning in this video?
Yes.
Okay, Ted Cruz, he's a United States Senator. When I have people like that on, Bill Barr, the Attorney General of the United States, had him on. I get emails from people who are like, basically their thought is, this guy, you had him on the show, when he walked out, why didn't you punch him in the face immediately? They hate me that I don't hate people.
Right.
And I think Bill Maher got a pretty grim trailer of what that looks like firsthand when he dared to have dinner with the President of the United States last month, because even his contemporaries like Larry David basically compared him to a court jester entertaining a dictator at a palace. And then the modern left thinks they're going to win over the center and traditional left again, because if anything, it's proved to be an absolutely disastrous policy electorally, as the last election shows. What's different is that now the cost of this political fracture is a lot greater than it has been even back in the mid-20th century during the McCarthyism era. But that was a fear of an external enemy. This is an irrational fear of your own countrymen just because they voted different. When your entire political landscape looks like tectonic plates, an earthquake is only a matter of time. And the only antidote to that is political dialogue that Bill Maher is going to do, no matter which side it upsets.
I don't know if I still, anger, you know, there's this cognitive dissonance that goes on in this country where people think it's just so horrible. People come up to me in restaurants all the time in Los Angeles, nice restaurants. Bill, what are we going to do? And I'm like, look around, finish your $800 meal. Why don't you do that? Is life really that horrible? Now, Trump may get elected again, and he may blow up the world on day one. Or he might just sit there for 4 years and eat cheeseburgers and call into Fox and Friends every morning. I don't know. He's completely unpredictable. I'm not going to lose my nervous system this time. I did it once. I'm not going to do it again. When it happens, wake me, but that's it. But until then, just realize how lucky you are and how good your life is. I just walked around Aspen. It's not that horrible out there in America. Okay?
Well, that is certainly
It's
true.
not corny or conservative to say you're lucky to live in this country right now and you should be aware of that.
And yet,
Does it sound like a Republican to you? Not unless you think that fundamental gratitude is a right-wing concept, because it isn't. I feel like for too long the Democrat platform has been to denigrate today's America as racist, capitalist, xenophobic, an unequal place that only they can fix. And that opened up a massive gap in the political market for a message of national pride and a degree of gratitude that shouldn't be partisan. But let me know in the comments what you think about this debate, because I don't think Bill Maher's message has been heeded by his own political camp thus far.